Episode 666 of the Too Thick Pod. Your home for all things sports, cards, and levity. And I think levity is important this week. I am Jeremy, your boy Sticks on the ones and twos, joined as always by everybody's favorite son, the most popular person in the hobby, Manny being Manny the plug, Manny 6.9. Good evening, young man.
Thanks, Jeremy22, for that kind introduction. It is great to be back. I'm excited. Too Thick Pod is back and ready. Jeremy's, look at that. If you're not on YouTube, get over to YouTube and look at that thickness. It is Tummy Sweats, back on the ones and twos. We're here to talk. There's a lot of news coming out lately. There's some boxing, some knockouts. We even got two of the biggest hobby companies going at it.
Woo! HGA and the other guy throwing hands. There's just been so much. This is legitimately, we just hit record, didn't talk about anything. There is no agenda. There is no itinerary. Nope. We are banking on using something very clickbaity. And if we talk about it, we talk about it. If not, we don't.
Yep.
I will say top of mind for myself this evening is I am on Instagram less and less. And every time I go on Instagram, I'm quickly reminded why I enjoy Twitter more. These people on Instagram are happy. No matter what you do on Instagram, you lose. You make content, you're not qualified because you don't have a good enough collection. You collect cards, you're collecting the wrong stuff. You do anything, and the hobby deems you a piece of garbage. You try to be inclusive, that's bad. You exclude people, that's bad. There is no winning in the hobby.
Not at all. That's why you just take it as an L already. I see myself as an L, so if anything comes at me, it's just like, okay, cool.
I really feel like I've showed my age lately because I'm constantly like, Court, what the hell does this mean? Or what is this cryptic post about? And she's like, oh, you didn't see the thing, and so-and-so's mad and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what the hell, man? Is anybody just like cards anymore?
They like to fight about cards. It's crazy. It's like when you're back, in elementary school and you have to pick a side. The popular kids go to one side, the other people go to the other side, and they just the dumbest arguments. That's kind of what it is right now.
I know that I'm a little different, but I've always just been like, if something's not my cup of tea, I just keep it moving. I also understand that like there's certain things that you and me don't agree upon, but it doesn't negatively impact our relationship. If we all like the same thing, we're all the same, it would be so incredibly dull and boring.
And don't say all of it Twitter, though. Twitter has its negatives. That one guy that never credits anybody always posts, and I always laugh because the comments are like, you didn't credit. And it's hilarious. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, well, so I feel like I, for myself, have done a really good job of like, and I hate saying it because it sounds like you hear it all the time, but I've like done a really good job of curating my experience. So like my Twitter is, I know I'm going to post a picture of coffee. I'm going to get like on any given day, 5 to 15 responses of other people showing pictures of coffee, memes, GIFs about coffee, like the good morning. Throughout the day, I'll just send random notes or I'll share cards. It might be a cool dialogue. But myself and Steven the other day, we bought this lot and we had tubs and tubs and tubs of binders. And so I set the over under at Oil Boyd can cards. Oil Can Boyd. Do you know who that is?
No, I saw you tweet it and I was so confused.
Okay, so like we bought one of those. So fun story. 3 or 4 years ago, Courtney comes home. She's like, we're rich. We are rich. And she's like, I bought, and I was like, oh no, please don't tell me you did. She bought one of those like 100,000 cards for $50.
Oh no.
We have a big dining room table that when you put 2 leaves in, it fits 10 people.
Yeah.
So there was a mountain of cards. We started about 3-4 p.m. and by 3-4 a.m., like 12 hours, the 4 of us had gone through and we found like maybe one card worth $5. Everything else just complete junk wax. Well, in that, there was a ton of oil can Boyd cards. And so he's an old pitcher. And so, like, anytime that there's old junk wax and there's copious amounts, I make that joke. I had no idea that that thing was going to catch on by wildfire. We had people sharing stories of like minor league games of seeing a pitch, people sharing cards, people wanting updates, wanting to know how many we found, which led to a sidebar conversation where I got in a fight with somebody who tried telling me a baker's dozen is 12, and they couldn't comprehend that a baker's dozen was 13. As if I have some damn reason to lie about what a baker's dozen is. So all that being said, like, my experience on Twitter is kind of fun. You know, I follow Paul Lesko for like news, like who's suing who. There's people who show cool cards. There's people who I buy and sell from. And other than that, like, it's not a very negative place. Now, I do know in the past it can be, just like any other place, it can be incredibly toxic.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. It got less toxic when Twitter went X. I guess it's X now. And people can put false, like if you post something underneath, someone could put this is false information. That's my favorite part, is to read those posts, because it's like someone's posted something. This is actual fact, because it just reminds me of you, because I feel like that would be you. If I post something, you'll be like, no, Manny, actually, this is what happened.
See, that would be a lot of fun, and that's something maybe a younger, trollier Jeremy might be inclined to take part in. It's weird, man. It's like, at the same time as I'm falling in love with cards even more, like as I'm learning about new cards and sets, and I feel like our collection's growing and we're making cool trades and making awesome relationships about buying and selling. Sometimes you don't even want to go share it, or you don't want to go like participate, because inevitably there's somebody that says something stupid.
Oh, I got pissed off at someone on Twitter because of you, by the way.
About the margaritas with Court?
No, that was funny.
Thank you.
You posted, so I don't even know. Can I share the card you bought, the soccer one?
Yeah.
Okay, so Jeremy bought a Ronaldo World Cup. It's first year World Cup for Ronaldo. PSA 10. And he posted as a joke, sarcastically, is this good? Right? Like, people don't know Jeremy. Jeremy's like, yeah, this is good. I'm just being sarcastic here.
Sarcasm is my love language.
Yeah, the first comment, Messi's is better. It's the blah, blah. I'm like, dude, shut up. Ronaldo and Messi are the I wanted to say it so bad, and then the best part was, like, I don't know if it was you or Courtney, because now Courtney's posting on Reckless Twitter. She needs to back off, because that's Jeremy's world. I saw that she posts about her.
Every time she participates, I lose 2 followers, and it has been a damn grind. I can't just be like her and post one TikTok and get to 4,000 people. Yeah. I have 78,363 posts to get, like, you know, all 2,300 followers.
But yeah, I was irritated because that one comment, trying to tell you, and the best was like, you're just like, okay, thanks for the advice, and just move along. But then he just kept going. I was like, dude, you sound like an idiot. I'm gonna block you. And that's what I like about Twitter, is I can just be like, block. But
cool. And there's no point in, like, I've never understood arguing on the internet. Has, like, anybody ever actually gotten in like a verbal altercation? It's not even really verbal. A typing altercation where, like, damn, he just slayed me, I'm going to change my mind. It's just like, the more it progresses, the stupider it gets.
Mm-hmm. But the best part is you just troll it. Like, I troll on Twitter. I could be a big troll just to get people worked up and me laughing.
Yeah.
But, like, because I was going to do that today. Saul's out of his mind, by the way. The dude's drinking hot coffee, and it's Dunkin' Donuts, and acting like you were going to be impressed with Saul's post. He's over here posting Dunkin' Donuts on hot coffee when it's like 80 degrees out. And I was like, this amateur.
Yeah. I appreciate the kid for trying. Shout out Saul.
Yeah. But
and it's wild. I mean, what do you think? Like, do you need to have I do think sometimes it's a fair question to ask, like, if you're going to be a hobby influencer and you're going to pump stuff, support stuff, endorse stuff, try to sell stuff, I do think there's some validity to the question, like, are you actually a collector or like you actually in this space. Now, with that being said, I'm not saying you have to, like, if you collect 10 $5 cards, that's cool, man. Sometimes that's all people have the means to collect. Or there's people who collect sets, or there's people who collect, like, is that Titty Subs on Instagram who collects all the PSA 1s and 2s?
Card Messiah was the one that had the SGC ones of like the Prism.
Like, that's actually kind of cool. And it's like, that's actually pretty cool. So, like, I'm never one to tell people how to collect, because if you would have told me 2-3 years ago, hey, Jeremy, you're going to buy a Pokemon card or a Dragon Ball card, I would have told you out of your damn mind, I'm not messing with that cornball shit. Because at the time, like, I was closed-minded and it just wasn't something for me. But by being open, being around people who are having success, being around people who are having fun, the way you got excited and the way the artwork, it became like infectious. And I'm like, man, I want to be a part of that. I tried it. I watched a show, and all of a sudden I'm like, man, I'm dabbling in the TCG market. This is kind of cool.
Yeah, it's people look at price tags a little too much in the hobby, rather than what you like to buy. And I fell for it. I'm sure you probably have at one point, but now it's just like, for me, I like buying Nomars and being happy now. So, and
I'm telling you, when we started our Instagram and we decided to share it, and just like kind of like the idea of like being just open and honest, asking questions and like doing that whole thing, I was originally in charge of Instagram. And like I would make one post every 3 weeks because I was like, my cards aren't worthy. And then finally Courtney's like, it doesn't matter, man. People collect whatever they collect. Guess what? There's probably more people out like us buying base Kobe Whites and working their way up. That's a hell of a lot more relatable than buying LeBron, exquisite RPAs.
Yeah, or rip, like, I don't know. We need to, that's the same with our content. We don't post content on Too Thick as much as we should, because you're a Twitter person and then I'm the Instagram, and I need to do a lot better. We talk about this all the time and then we just don't do it.
No, my point though was, for a lot of people, posting anything is intimidating because you post a card and there's always quickly somebody like, well, that's not a PSA 10, or why would you grade it in that slab, or why would you get that player? He sucks. Like, sometimes it's okay to be like, hey man, if you like it and you're clearly happy about it, I'm happy for you. That's cool. Or if it's something you really don't like, you know what, you have the ability to do, at least I believe, is just go to the next post.
Yeah, scroll.
I mean, I might be out of my mind. I might be out of my damn mind. I don't know. That's just
cranky people in the hobby.
That's the hobby. That's just like real life, right? We all know those people that are only happy when they're mad about something or they have something to bitch and complain about.
But when you go to the National, you don't see these cranky people. Everyone's lovey-dovey on everyone.
And that's the thing that you and I have talked about since we started doing the live show recaps. Instagram isn't real. Don't let that stuff cloud you, because guess what? When we go to a show, like, sure, there might be somebody we're not their cup of tea or they don't talk to us, but overwhelmingly it's hugs, it's daps, it's what's going on, it's gifts, it's like acts of kindness.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's friendship. That's real. And it's also, you get to a spot where you can razz somebody and bust their chops a little bit about like, come on, man, you're collecting that really?
Yeah.
Really, that's whack. Come on now.
Yeah, we do that occasionally, but we do it to people that like truly know us, because they razz me for everything, so I'm gonna give it back.
So what's going on? What are you gonna do? Because I think it's time for the next step in your evolution. I've been thinking about this a lot. I want to know what you're gonna do, because I, as your friend, as your co-host, as you put it, Mr. 22. Like, I'm tired of you taking them pies, man. I'm tired of you taking the pies. What are we going to do?
So right now I'm kind of sitting back, but I'm actually looking at some basketball cards, because I've learned from you that off seasons, actually, you could buy at comps now in basketball, and in a couple months, even if you bought at comps, you're going to make money because the cards are going to go up. Everyone's focused on football, fantasy football. In a couple of weeks, there's college football. So everyone's focused on that. The playoffs, baseball's end of the season. So they have minds are elsewhere. So you need to think outside the box. And basketball is where it's at. So you got to find those players that could potentially get the hype. I know.
Can I before I you're on a roll and I hate to disrupt it, but I want to get the bag. There's a podcast that you're a part of that discusses all things fantasy football. Would you like to plug it?
We can. So I do a fantasy football podcast called Next Up Fantasy with Will. He was actually working with me on the podcast I used to work with. And his thing is fantasy football. So he asked me to be on it, and I was like, I love fantasy, so let's do it. And it's fun. We kind of
whoa. I just said plug the show. I mean, like, this is a little overboard.
That's the show.
I don't think Will's got pockets that deep to go
That's
and
true.
Take 2 minutes of airtime from the Too Thick crap.
I mean, he pays me per show. You didn't know that?
I figure you get a healthy stipend.
Yeah, exactly. He basically feeds my children for every episode that I'm on. But yeah, no, I lost. Oh, basketball. So basketball, you got to find those players. I know people shit on Zion a lot, but with him coming back after all this time, there's going to be a little bit of hype. You got to find the players that ESPN are going to talk about. Is kind of what I'm starting to gather. If you want to kind of make some money into something else. So just find those players. Yes, John Morant's going to be suspended. 25 games? Yep. When he comes back, there's going to be a little jump because people are excited for John Morant. I don't personally want to buy Zion or Ja because it's a little bit more risky. I want to buy someone like Chet. Chet is amazing. Dude's bulked up. I've heard all positive stories about him. He has that go get him kind of mentality that none of the new age kids got. And I just think if he's healthy, he's going to be a stud. And he's still considered a rookie because he didn't play last year.
So I was really impressed with where you were going.
Yeah. You don't like that?
Chet's better than Ja?
Well, yeah.
A guy who's never actually played an NBA game is better than Ja.
It's not about being better. It's about the hype. People are going to be hype about Chet because he didn't play his rookie year. Does that make sense?
I see the way that you position that. Okay.
Yeah, let me see. I'm looking right now at Card Ladder. That's why I'm typing. I want to see his index, I'm sure it's down because, like I said, he hasn't played. But
I'm not surprised because every circle that I'm in, everybody thinks that they're slick and that Chet's going to be the biggest steal. As everybody's going after Victor and Scoot and Brandon Miller, people are like, oh, they forgot about Chet.
Yeah, but you're around winners, right?
So does it concern you at all with SGA, Giddey, the kid who finished second and rookie of the year last year, that there might not be enough basketball to go around?
So Chet was the number one. This is what I'm looking at. He was more the number one player coming out of his class in high school. I like college basketball, so I kind of follow the recruits and that aspect. So he was the number one player coming out, played with Gonzaga, played only one season. So he's still super young, kind of like Patrick Williams, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dude's in his second year, but I don't even know if he's probably 19. I don't know. He's just if you think Victor Wembanyama is a generational talent, this dude's the same body type, same handles and everything. So what
you're thinking is you think that the hype for Chet that come mid to late August, any basketball that's acquired now, you'll be out of it by then. So it doesn't matter whether or not he's good, bad, ugly.
Yes.
I got you.
Yes. And then that's the same with Zion. Yes, Zion's good. I don't want him during the season. I want him before the hype of him coming back, the ESPN noise of who's coming back, the hype of John Morant when he's about to come back. You could buy John Morant now at low cost and sell him when a couple weeks before he even comes back. And I think it's going to be a higher. And it's kind of that mentality that you taught me. Buy off season, sell preseason. You already missed the boat on football. Don't buy anything. I don't know why I'm trying to give advice because I lose, but it kind of makes sense in my mind. But don't buy football right now because it's the hype. Everyone's talking about it.
Well, except from you buy from Reckless because I just got an SGC order back with the rest of my football. The goal was to have it before National. Obviously, it comes the week after. A little less than ideal for timing, but still plenty of time before the season starts. So make sure you buy my football.
But does that make sense, though? Does that make sense?
I mean, that's really what we do. And now what we've done over for us is then we've just fine-tuned it. So for every, let's just say, one of these that I buy, a Patrick Williams, which is obviously PC, but it's also a speculative play because there is no guarantee there's ever going to be an ROI on this. Mm-hmm. Like I might end up like when I die, I'm gonna have $100 worth of 100 slabs that at one point I spent $40,000-$50,000 on. What I've been doing, or what we've been doing, is simultaneously hedging with stuff like this.
Yep, that's nasty. No big deal.
Connor McDavid, like the best hockey player in the world, on card auto, UD canvas. Like, so we're buying players. Like I've started to dip into vintage a little. I'm still not there. I still don't think it's like cool or exciting the same way some of the new stuff is, because it's like I'm just not there. But I feel myself, because the peace of mind that knowing that like if I have $500 parked right here, it'll be a good store of value. I don't have to stress about something happening. Mm-hmm. So as like, let's say you have 100, as 20 to 30 goes towards speculation or a gamble, we're putting more into something that'll be a little more safe. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where I'm at. But following that same cycle, buy in the off season, be prepared, have an exit strategy. Now, the thing that I find is funny is I have started to buy more and more TCG, and you're looking at going back into sports. And I wonder if you are doing yourself a little bit of harm by not sticking with one thing and honing your craft. I guess that's like maybe a little bit of a question, or
no. I'm still going to do the TCG stuff, but more so the tournament stuff. And that only comes like once in a while. I'm not going to try to be like Brandon and buy cases and grade and flip, because as you know, there's bigger fish. I'm just a small fish. The bigger fish can spend the more money on grading that I didn't really put in a factor on myself. So I think I'm going to start doing that, the tournament card, saving for that. But in the meantime, I'm not going to be like idle for the hobby. I still want to buy cards. You know what I mean? So I do want to be in the kind of, the electrical engineer that I am. I like graphs. I don't know if you do too.
I do.
But check this out. Shout out Card Ladder.
Hey, no, shout out to my guy, Pancake Analytics.
Yes.
The guy's a complete nerd, which
you nerd.
love. And so understanding data and how you look at it, it's obviously you can look at data a number of ways. I find him to be fascinating. He actually does the TCG 83 on Card Ladder, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm. So this is basketball, not chat. It's all basketball, right? Sales volume. I did 2-year span. I know 2021 is going to kind of be like a higher sales volume than.
There's the old middle finger.
Yep. So, but look at this last year. Look where it peaked for sales volume. Around that November, December, October. So in the fall when the season started, right?
Yeah, I mean, end of October is when basketball starts.
And here you go again. So a little peak, but this is, like I said, this is abnormal in January. But it looks like if you could look at these type of trends in graphs, like peak, looks like we're down right here. What's that mean? If you're anything in stocks, you're buying, it's going down, it's going to eventually come back up, and our comeback is around that fall time. So it doesn't look like the hobby, and this is kind of where this is me trying to figure out the hobby. You could see right here, no one's really buying basketball right now.
Yep.
You go to football. Let's see, where's football? It's down market as well, but look at what it's starting to do, Jeremy. See that?
So I think you're spot on. So what we're doing right now is any remaining football, I have opened up to accepting trades as well. I think sometimes it's a little bit easier to move and shuffle through inventory. And I don't want to say like I'm super specific, but I try to be specific. Like, hey, I'm trying to get out of football. If I'm trading up, I'll provide additional value. If I'm trading down, I want to pick up additional value. So I'm working on a deal right now. And the card, like the key piece of the card, it's not like a massive card. It's like maybe a high 3-figure, low 4-figure card that's hovering right now around $400 or $500, but routinely during the season gets to $1,000 to $1,500. Meanwhile, I have a football card that is the highest it's ever going to be. And unless this player goes on to be the greatest of all time, we all know what that card's going to do. And so it makes it incredibly easy where I can pick up maybe 2 or 3 cards that I really like when they're down in the toilet, like your graph just showed. And as long as I'm patient and hold for a couple months, we all know what they're going to do.
Yeah. And the reason why I like doing sales volume per se is because that shows the actual amount of cards being sold.
Yeah.
It doesn't show like the amount, or it doesn't show like the type of cards. It just shows the interest of the hobby right now.
Yeah, I mean, like, and it repeats itself, man. So if you can learn to be patient, it takes time, and it's like one of those things that's somebody can tell you something, but until you do it, you don't truly know. Now, what I will say is, even though you might have the player dialed in, dialing in on the product is equally important.
Yes. See, and my problem is I know what it is. It's Prism. I hate Prism, and that's the I don't like it at all. I'm more of a Select, but Select got butchered, and I like Optic.
I like Optic. The on-card autos are awesome.
Yeah, that's why I really like Optic. I also like Obsidian, but no one else does. The patches are amazing, and like the inserts, the contras are sick and clean.
Nasty.
It's like one of my favorites, but no one else likes it.
Look, if you're going to jump back into basketball, know your exit strategy, know whether or not you're sending stuff to consignment, that you're going to grind on Discord or Twitter, whatever the case may be.
So I think the next couple months for me is, I'm saying this, but I think I'm going to I'm good at these graphs. I need to actually hone in on like looking at these graphs and doing like studying data. I feel like that's going to help me the most because I've never done that before. I just go on a whim of like thinking, hey, it's this time. So I'm going to try to like look at players that are down too.
You just have to repeat what you did with Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Like when we went to, what was it? The Midwest Monster in March or the Chicago Spectacular, whatever show we went to in March, we were dialed in. We felt strongly that Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence, like I felt like there was going to be a buzz. So it made it really easy. I knew what I was looking for. I knew I wanted to avoid, even though there might be like a score numbered out of 25. It's going to be a little more challenging to move that because the end user, the collector, that's not what they're chasing. They're chasing NT, Flawless, Prism. And so I was able to act fast and make like real quick decisions because I had put in a level of work to understand what I was after. And I just made it a point because like I'm like you, bro. I get to the card shop and I'm like, or the show, and I'm like, ooh, shiny thing. Oh, look at that patch. Next thing you know, I'm looking at shit that I don't know nothing about. I'm like, oh, Chris Duarte, Panini and 1. I bought a Chris Duarte, Panini and 1, nasty patch, beautiful on-card auto. And then like I start like convincing myself, like, oh yeah, he can be good.
Exactly.
And then the reality is like, dude, you have no idea what his situation is. You don't know what's gonna go on. And then you buy a card and you're like, oh, wow, I could have just, this is like a $30, $40 card. But I mean, I could have paid for 2 grading submissions. That could have gone towards a bigger card. Now I've got my funds tied up in a card that I'm like, oh, that wasn't a really good. That was, I got caught up in the moment sort of purchase. So we bought the Fields, the Lawrence, and guess what? Their market did what it does every damn year.
Do you know where I would actually be better at? And it's not for this baseball, you could do it. I need Panini and Fanatics to like pick up their stuff, like their product on time, be more on time with their product, because you know me, I'm a college wizard. Like that's all I watch. I know the players that are going to be potentially good in the NBA. And if I could buy them when it's like before the season, when no one knows, like I know some breakout candidates, but the product won't ever come. Like Amani Bates in basketball, rookie this year for Cleveland Cavaliers. A couple years ago, #1 player overall over Chet. Chet was 2, he was 1. He's had some issues on and off the court, but his talent's there, and he got drafted in the 2nd round. So you know what that means? He's going to have product that's really cheap. If I could have bought him, if they got the product out, before the season start, I could be buying his prisms knowing that there's going to be potential of him breaking out. And I can't do that now because by the time he breaks out, the product hasn't came. It kind of like puts my hands tied for like the people that are trying to move up a level, because the people that are at this level can now buy him when he comes out after he broke out to sell later on.
So the game plan is then just to sit back, which is always fine, right? Because you can't get hurt monitoring, learning, and sitting on cash. And then identifying a couple of players and a couple of different brands and then striking.
Oh, yeah. I think I'm going to sit back for a little bit, a couple of weeks, because it's going to get even worse when like the first week of football, everyone's going to be watching football. Everyone's excited. So that's the time, I think, because you still have the end of October, November. You just saw the sales data to basically start selling that.
You going raw, or are you just going to go graded and not even have to worry about grading anything?
Depends, because if I do go Chet, a lot of stuff is graded because it's Chet. But if I find a player that's kind of I could prospect a little bit that kind of had an off year last year, then I'd buy graded. I think that you could still find potential of grading and selling, especially through SGC, because they're back in like a couple weeks. That was one strategy, and another strategy, I think we talked about this, is going to card shows. And I'm sorry, Brad Hollister, because I might make you upset, but I want to go and just compete and try to buy out some $5 boxes and put it on ComC, because ComC is I feel like where it's at.
Dude, I'm loving ComC. So I went in there, and you can set it at a certain percentage that if you get an offer, it automatically accepts it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So go find my ComC, because I'm probably at I'm at a healthy margin off what it's listed, and I'm also the cheapest listed.
Oh, yeah.
I try to be on all my inventory.
Well, after this show, I'm actually going to go back through the product that hasn't sold, because you could do that and basically lower my prices to get it sold. I don't want it just sitting there.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, there's potential for that too. Just going and buy out and starting over and buying off like the $5 to $10 cards and putting them up on ComC, because they'll sell quickly. I noticed that that's kind of how like Ryan's cards on Twitter started, and now he's into the big cards. He bought and then started stack sales on Twitter, and then just got bigger and bigger from that. Infinito does it for soccer. Saul does it. Logan's League. So there's a lot of people on Twitter that does it. So why not they avoid the fees at Twitter for doing it at Twitter and get the cash out. But I'm not going to compete. I might as well just send it to ComC and create a bankroll.
You as long as you get it in the mail, you don't have to do anything else.
Nope. That's what's easy. You price it's all like digital.
I've actually been considering sending some cards to consignment outside of like a couple and like we documented this on Hobby Night School with the Horf. Like we've always just sold ourselves, but I was thinking about, because I'm starting to build up, I'm starting to be card rich, because I've had a lot of orders pop. I've got a lot of stuff out for grading. I don't know, man. Part of my hobby experience is I like the transacting. I like being hands-on. I like doing it. Now there are days, trust me, where I'm like, I hate this. I don't want to do that. But overwhelmingly, there's days where I'm just like, I actually like the negotiation, especially when you run into somebody who's like very much similar to you and I, where you can have a conversation. Yep. I like that whole process. But I've actually been thinking about taking a bunch of cards where, you know what, I don't have it in me to argue or justify a price. Let's just put it out in the open market and see what happens.
Yeah, you get screwed a lot. Like, well, I do. But you got to find the right consigner. And that's going to get views on your eBay.
So one thing is, and this is refreshing, this might be refreshing for you. If you notice, outside of like maybe some big cards, sometimes you buy a card or you trade into something where you expect it to be a home run or you want it to be a home run. Because not everyone's a home run. Like sometimes you're just good taking a 10, 15, 20% margin on a card. When you buy in the off season, you buy in bulk and you have a lot of upside in the card, it actually makes the sale process that much more easy.
Yeah.
Because I don't like negotiating. I don't like haggling with people. It's like, let's get close to a number. Boom, let's be done. Because there's so much upside in it. They feel like they're getting an absolute steal. And like, it just, I don't know, makes it a little bit frictionless.
Yeah.
Less friction.
For sure. Because you get it, and most likely you're getting it into a collector's hand too at that aspect, at that point. Or even if you're giving it to a flipper, you're giving it to them at a good price point that they could go and make money.
So can I share just a couple cards as an example?
Yeah.
Like, so I had this video is dropping like maybe Wednesday. We had a huge order pop. Okay. 20 cards, not a huge order, but I'm just gonna at random just tell me where to stop. Okay. This is a Jameson Williams.
That was a perfect stop for me, huh?
1 of 1. These cards in here, and I almost don't want to say it because I'm like potentially damaging myself. My price point in on these cards, because the lot was so big that instead of going card by card and like in getting it, let's just say there is 100 cards and I paid $500 for the whole lot. The way we math it is just each card's $5, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every card in here, if I sell for, it's like $40 and some change, I'm in the profit.
There you go. And they're nice cards.
They are. They're all short printed. They're RPAs. Everything's numbered. Like there's a Jalen Waddle Obsidian out of 125. Otherwise, everything else is like 15, 30, dual patch auto. It took some time to build up a bankroll to go buy a lot that big. But when you get to, then it just makes the moving it that much easier. And also why like I'm kind of thinking about sending some of it to consignment, because guess what? Fixed sale is nice because you control, like, hey, I don't lose the asset or the card or the storage of value until I get the number I want. Sometimes you go to auction, you could be like that Luka that was like $350,000 that just sold for 75.
Mm-hmm.
Kicking the stones.
Mm-hmm.
But these, like, even if they go, like, I'm sure they're going to go for $40. I'm good.
Yeah, exactly. Or you know what you can do? I just thought of this too. Make your son buy it so then he could flip it, make some profit.
Hey, shout out to Steve, man. We have, it's like 220 auctions live this week on eBay.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad that he's getting into it, by the way.
He's got no choice because dad's putting a boot in his ass. But so I don't know how much of that's like truly getting into it and how much is like dad being dad. But I will tell you, we're beta testing the stuff for Ludex, where you can scan the card and go live on the thing. And then on the back end, we're putting additional pictures and all that stuff. But 220 auctions live ending Sunday night. Everything starting at 99 cents. Like it's all raw stuff. I am like, that Monday is going to be hellacious.
Oh, I bet. Do you get, so it when it posts, do you still get the updates that there's people bidding on your eBay? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I was just curious, but so when you say back end putting pictures, because it only takes the front, right? And then
the front scan, yeah.
Which isn't bad. That's easy.
I mean, if you think about it, you're playing in like 99-cent cards. It's just, I've always avoided selling raw cards because I don't want to deal with hey, I've just spent 74 cents on this card. There's a faint print line. I want my money back, you piece of shit. You know, if you look at our feedback, it's 100% greatest packaging ever. Because like this week it'll go out the window. But typically when we sell a package, like we ship within a couple hours. We package it. We take a picture of your package. We send you a nice note, yada, yada, yada. But for 220 packages potentially, like I'm hopeful that one person just comes in and sweeps the floor, so I can put everything in one box and send it out. That'd be nice.
Oh yeah. And he's not lying either, because I bought stuff from him off Drip and whatnot, and the dude will send thank you notes to me, not realizing. I don't think he realized, because it's just
everybody gets it. No, because it's thank you to you, man. Thank you to you.
It's an assembly line in that card shop down there that he doesn't even know it's me. I'm like, dude, I follow you. I don't need your business card. I know who you are.
Yeah, that's how much of a nerd or dork I am. I'm like, oh man, how do we improve shipping? How do we create a system and process? And like, you'll see, I'll lose my damn mind when somebody's like, why are you over here with the bubble mailer? The bubble mailer, you stand over here. It flows from left to right. This makes absolutely no sense. You were messing up the entire system.
Yeah. It's
everywhere from where we place the label to the way it's taped to the way I am telling you.
Your shit's hard to open too.
Yeah.
It takes me a while to open your guys' packages.
Man, and we hand scan it all in. And there's a lady who, for whatever reason, she loves Steven. She thinks he's the greatest kid ever. And I'm like, well, please take him. Take him. Kid's pissing me off. So we're like, but they get super annoyed because we come in there and we don't just dump it. Like, they've got those bins that you can dump, but we make them scan them in, because sometimes it'll go all the way to Florida without ever being scanned. Then you get a million emails like, you didn't ship my card. And it's like, yes, I did. Mm-hmm. So they might be like, tell me and Courtney to F off. So we're like, oh, Steve, you got to go. And the first time we sent them, we were like, I felt like I was sending a sheep to slaughter. Like, oh, they're going to eat his little ass up.
So he has to ask for the bin, right?
He's got the big bin. He goes in there. He waits in line. And I'm laughing. I'm like, this poor kid is going to get slaughtered. And he comes out, big old smile on his face, his receipt that's like this long. And he's like, oh, yeah, she was so smiley. And she said that, like, I'm getting so big. And I'm like, all right, man, you are the USPS guy.
Do they give you a bin?
We have one.
Oh, I didn't know how that worked, because I saw someone roll out a cart once, put all of it in, and just...
Yeah, you know what? That's a good question. I wonder if I get one with like the PO box, or like if you have to buy it. But I know what you're talking about. Yeah, we just have like a big blue one with handles. Like, we haven't gotten to that volume. I think the most we've ever done in like one trek is like maybe 50 to 75 packages. But I'm telling you, they typically have like only one or two people there working, and they do passports too. So like some days one person can do one thing. Or you get Adeline, who can't make up her mind what damn stamp she wants. Next thing you know, it's 15 minutes later and there's a line out the door, and people, you know how it is. They're like hobby people. They're angry. They're mad that Doris is in there doing her stamp shopping. Like, come on. Come on, Beatrice, get your ass out of here.
Do you get hard looks when that you walk in with your box?
You know what? So what I do, and this might make me a bad guy, if I have to be the one that does it, I bring Kaya Bear or Lala with me, and they love it. Because who's going to be a jerk to a guy that's got a pretty little girl by his side? And so I am like, Kaya, make sure you say, hi, how are you?
Yeah, you're such
be mad at me. Be mad at me.
That is hilarious. That's a good idea, though. No. I can't take you serious. I know you do.
I'm dead serious. I am not joking. 2 birds, 1 stone. The kid gets to go for a ride, maybe go with me, get a refresher when I go to Starbucks afterwards, because the Starbucks is right there. So it'd be like criminal not to stop. Yeah. I alleviate a little stress. They get to see a pretty little girl. We have a nice little interaction, and I don't get my balls busted.
You know, that's funny you said that, because I did the same thing today. And it was with I had a pile of cans in the garage, and I was like dreading to go, so I asked Haven to go with me, and there's a line backed up, and it's just Haven doing the thing, and I was like, hey, Haven, saying hi to everyone. Awesome. It's all old ladies just staring me down. One person was like, oh, sweetie, you got a lot of cans, and I was like, yes, we do.
So this is cool. We had a meeting the other day, and of course, like, if I get to choose, we meet at a Starbucks. And if there's one not like anywhere near, it's like a Panera. So we met at a Starbucks, and I brought where Kaya goes to school, where my little Kaya Bear goes to school. They issue them like Google Chromebooks. Mm-hmm. So she brought her computer, And so we got in there. I got her a drink. I got her a water. I set her up. And then I was like, hey, baby, look around. And everybody, everybody's in there working. They have their computers. They have their AirPods in. Like, everybody's just working. Like, you look like all these people, don't you? And she's like, yeah, Daddy. I'm like, you're a grown up. And then, because she's 6, she's like, yeah. She smiled and she's like, I think I'm 7.5 now. I'm like, yeah, I think so. And so then she came home and she was telling Court how like she works at Starbucks, even though she was playing like tic-tac-toe on her computer. And I was like, that's right. That's right.
You're teaching her how to be a diva already.
Yeah. That might be something that later in life I'm not a huge fan of, but right now it's like,
yeah,
no can defend because she's just like, Daddy, I love you. Give me a kiss.
That's funny. Can I give a shout out to another podcast?
Yeah, please do.
It's our boys Oz and Tony for having me on. I was on their live last week. So I just want to give a shout out to them. They actually are doing big things. So I do want to give them credit. They're one of our first guests. So they're opposite than us though. It's kind of cool because it's like you listen to them. They're a collector. They're true collectors. Tony does not sell a card. They basically save, buy a card, save, buy a card. They brought you up on their recent podcast because you're the opposite. They said that you find enjoyment in doing deals. So they can't wrap their brain around like actually like the flipping aspect, but they respect that how you can do your deals while they're the ones that are collecting like because they can't do the deals.
So that's all. That is just a smidge.
Well, yeah.
That's high-end Patrick Williams. That is like the creme de la creme. And like just to put in perspective, it's like a
I guess
out of 5, NT out of 10. Just chilling here, not even in the case yet.
Yeah.
Another 1 of 1.
But you're a dealer too, though, is what I think they're getting at.
Here's the thing that I made this point, and I'm a little confused. You must have accidentally fallen into their show because usually you commit to things and don't follow through. Okay, so I'm not sure how you ended up on the show.
Podcast tomorrow.
My point for all of that was, for me, is I like activity.
Yes,
and so for me, like I'm sure it's satisfying and rewarding to like collect your ducats, go out and get your card. But man, I want 1 card. I want 2 cards. I want every day to be a mail day. So by flipping this stuff, the Kenny Pickett, greatest quarterback of all time, like by Sky Moore, number out of 30, like flipping this stuff gives me the ammo to do that. And I do enjoy transacting, but also like when I was talking with Oz and Tony, like I respect the way they do it and I find it like fascinating. And I could see myself potentially going down that path. Like I never thought I'd get into TCG. I'm there. I never thought I would be into vintage. I'm buying vintage cards now. Like, and so I'd like to think I'm a good hobbyist in the sense that like I'm sharpening my skills, becoming more dialed in. And I'm trying new things. But the important thing to me, and I hope for other people out there, at the end of the day, value of cards, all that shit be damned, is that I'm having fun.
Yeah.
And as a result of having fun, I'm creating relationships that extend outside of cardboard.
Yes. And I think that's why we like doing transactions like we do, because the key word is, like you said, relationships. When you're saving up just to buy 1, you gain 1 relationship. When you're doing 100 transactions to get to that 1, you just got 101 relationships to build up to your collection. I think that's the difference.
And I'm like, and maybe this is like could be considered lying to yourself. And I don't think it is. Like I think it's turning like a negative into a positive. Is like sometimes you let a card go too cheap. Sometimes you take an L. But that also is like somebody's like, man, that guy really hooked it up.
Yeah.
And that could come back tenfold later. Like, when there's maybe a card that they don't care about that you care about. So, we were talking at the beginning of the show about like people being hateful about the ways people do. I'm learning to appreciate and enjoy the differences that we have within the hobby.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it's cool, man. Like when we interviewed Cindy Dick, and going into it, I wasn't really sure what to expect, and I found out that like she was like the time frame might be around, but like pre-World War II female athlete cards and stuff like that, and stuff from Germany, and like her thought process behind it, and the cards and the hunt. I was like, man, that's super dope. That is like super dope. That's like actually much more interesting than looking at the same Trevor Lawrence contenders card. Not that they're like that card in itself is cool because it's a big card, it's a big time quarterback, but it's different, it's unique, it's got a fun story.
That's kind of like what I don't know if you saw the tweet I put out, but I was looking at POGS the other day, and I'm like, there's a 1994, 96 set of just straight Michael Jordans, and it's super cheap, and you can get them graded. It's a car. I mean, POGs are little. I see them as little cards.
Do you have that big old like? I never had money, so like I had like a slammer, and it was like one of those cheap plastic ones. It had no heft. I think heft is the correct word for something that's got a little mass, a little weight to it. Yeah, I didn't have a good slammer.
Dude, but if you could get those graded in good conditions, because you know the game, you have to slam them on like your slammer onto the thing. I feel like those are, I don't know, undervalued. They're the same thing. The pictures, if you like TCG or like all these pop culture, there's so many. There's a Harry Potter set that's like a couple grand.
I've never seen Harry Potter. And after saying all that good stuff, if I said what I wanted to say about POGs, I would be I'd be a hypocrite. So you do your POG collection, my man. I wish you well.
Yeah, what's POG mean?
I don't know. It's just like the stack of like, Pringles circle cardboard that you flip over.
No, my best friend on Twitter responded, "Are you meaning PAWGs?"
I know what that is.
I was like, no.
I know what that is. I live that life, son. I live that. Raka.
That's what I thought you were going at. Like when you said,
kid, let me tell you something. I come from the age before booty was a thing.
Yeah.
I'm so old where it was bad to have booty. And it was so hard as a young man on the come up. And please, ladies, take this like a grain of salt, little tongue in cheek here. But the thing back in the Kurt Loder MTV days, you don't even know who Kurt Loder is. And yes, MTV Day was like the low rise jeans, super, super, super skinny, rail thin. So for a young kid like myself who liked the booty, it was a tough time coming up, man. So let me tell you, now you got me. You got me. When I was a kid,
you're so excited.
When I was a kid, nobody wore snapbacks because snapbacks meant you were poor.
Yeah.
Nobody wore Champion because it was not a cool brand. Nobody talked about any of your mental stuff because it meant you're weak. And nobody liked fat asses. Now that I'm an adult who fancies himself a connoisseur of the booty, now that's like, like everybody likes big butts. Cool. Champion is popular. What the hell? When I was wearing Champion, I was getting my ass kicked for being poor trash. When I wanted a hat, if you notice, I only ever wear 5950 New Era fitted caps.
Size
when I was a kid, they'd be like, here you go. We don't have any money. You get one of these little snapback joints. Nah. And now they're popular. What the hell?
What'd you wear back in this day? Would you wear FUBU and South Park or South Pole?
No, man. I am telling you, I didn't get my first pair of designer shoes until I was a freshman in high school.
FUBU's not designer.
I didn't say FUBU.
I asked you if you wore FUBU.
So no, I didn't wear FUBU. So now I will say, when I was in high school, my dream was to get the embroidered No Limit tank sweater, but I could never afford that. But my first pair of designer shoes, and this is kind of a funny story, it was a gold pair of Reeboks.
Okay.
Now, I got these hand-me-downs, Tommy Hilfiger Carpenter jeans. And I don't know if at your school that was ever a popular thing. So now I have this. I've got these gold shoes, right? I go and I get myself a yellow Wu-Tang Clan t-shirt. Okay? Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with. All right. Now, I want to point out, when I was a young man, I had long, blonde, braided hair. So if I wore it straight,
I can't see that.
this stuff was like this. So I would braid it, you know what I mean? Rock a bandana, whatever. So I go to school one day, and I had never felt. You ever like just put on an outfit and it's the right fit? You know what I mean? It's got a vibe. You feeling good.
I'm trying to picture you with the band.
Dude, I'll send you some pictures. So I go to school, and I'm getting some looks. And I'm like, hell yeah. Hell yeah, Jay. You're doing it, kid. You're doing it. And so they had these things called electives. So like you had to take like a math, a science, like all this stuff. So while all the other dudes were taking engines, woods, all this bullshit that I had zero interest in, I was in family and consumer sciences, which was what would home ec would be. I was in foods, so I was in with the ladies. What I learned was that if you were nice to the ladies, they would look out for you.
Mm-hmm.
So this girl comes in, and she was what was known as I don't know the rules of the streets anymore. So I'm saying this with the utmost respect. There is no disrespect. And if I misspeak or say something I'm not allowed to, that's not what it is. But she was affiliated with a certain gang whose colors were gold and black.
13?
No.
Oh.
She was a queen.
King. I got it.
So she said, hey, Jay. And she would always give me high fives only with her left hand. She said, hey, you can't be wearing that. And I was like, like I'd take it like she's flirting with me. Like, oh, because I'm making you feel some sort of way because I'm too good looking. What, because I got a little money? Even though I didn't have any money, I had like one of those brown bags with a shitty lunch that I wasn't excited to eat while everybody else was getting a la carte. She said, no, these are gang colors. And I was like, you know how like my brain works, like where I can just like instantly process something. And it was like that moment of clarity, like, hey, man, all those looks you were getting weren't at all anybody feeling it. They're like, who is this dumbass kid who, unbeknownst to him, is wearing gang colors, strutting through the school, swagger. Yeah, so I asked to go to the bathroom. Because it was like, so no, I was thinking, I asked to go to the bathroom, and then I just went home. Because at this point, I had gotten into a very healthy and a very easy, like, of just going to school kind of whenever I wanted. Like, I wasn't out getting into trouble. I'd go home and watch Cubs games.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, yeah, don't need to get my ass kicked or fight with anybody. And so that combination of shoes, pants, shirt, never wore again.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for your rough childhood. Or you're going to, if you did, you end up like our thickest of the week this week.
Yeah, this is wild. This is wild.
Let me see. So, our thickest of the week is back, baby. And we need to get his card to add to our PC. And
my man is absolutely getting smoked. My man got on Twitter and had Twitter fingers after having this happen to him.
It's our boy. Should I play it? I'll play it without sound.
No, play with the sound.
All right.
First throw is not in time. He just missed him at second base. This is another.
Steve Stone, greatest commentator of all time.
Now, oh my goodness. Here come the benches. Off we go. It started with Anderson and Ramirez.
Jeez.
Taken. Kopak had to hold him back. And everybody's spilling out here in Cleveland. Here's how this started on the throw to second base. Ramirez
Look at that booty.
Went in between the legs of Tim Anderson, and Ramirez says, get out of the way.
Well, Tim Anderson
Well,
started.
then Ramirez points his finger in his face, and that kind of started things.
No.
Woo! He hit him with that two-piece. Jesus.
Well,
and watch when Anderson drops, man. He's standing right next to somebody that didn't even catch his ass.
Jesus. Yeah.
Oh, my. You know what this reminds me of?
He said, what's up?
Ooh.
Yes, just came sprinting back up the stairs in his catcher's gear.
What an absolutely disappointing, abysmal season for the White Sox.
Yeah.
As a Chicagoan, like I've gotten past the like I hate the White Sox sort of thing. Like I'm kind of like, I like the idea of what Lou Bob can be. I like the idea of what Tim Anderson can be. And I thought with a younger manager that they were really going to click this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's just been a train wreck of a season for these guys. But what this reminds me of is, did you ever see the clip of Stitches going up to, I think his name's Whack 100?
Yeah.
Like he postured up against Whack and Whack dropped his ass.
Yep.
Can you find that?
Let me see.
Like, what makes that so much worse? It's like one thing if you're like, yeah, man, I'm not a fighter, and you get punched and knocked out. Like, okay, well, you weren't looking to fight. But when you drop your glove and you square up and put your hands up and then get dropped, oof. And then he jumped on Twitter and was talking smack, which was
he got
absolutely wild to me.
CTE. The CTE came back.
That guy will, as long as he plays professional sports, we'll have to hear about that day in and day out.
So the reason why he's thickest of the week is Jose Ramirez. And moral of the story, us thick people have some mass and some force coming in. We don't have to connect 100%, but look what happens when a frail guy comes at us, thick boys.
Yep.
Let me see. I'm going to pull up this one. Is this what you're talking about?
Okay.
Right here?
Yeah.
That's swag, right?
Just watch this. He walks up on them. And I think Stitches is a big boy too. Whack just clipped him. I put that brick in your face. Then my man said, no, I'm going to put my hand in your face.
Dang, look at what happened to him? Hold on. Oh, he got tased. I was like, what just happened? He just got laid out too. Oh, Jeremy. We don't fight. Good thing, huh?
Oh, my goodness, dude. Oh, my goodness.
But yeah, that was the highlight, is that Jose Ramirez has to be on our Hall of Fame of thickest of the week.
Yeah, dude, my phone blew up and I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Yeah.
Dan is a huge Jose Ramirez. He PCs him. So he was like, he said it felt like a special dad moment when he was watching it.
Wow. Not the punch. The punch is one thing, whatever. If it hurts, it sucks, whatever. The bruised ego from that one is got to be a rough living.
Well, like you said, he turned into Antonio Brown on Twitter. He probably got some CTE from that one punch.
I mean, I think the way you handle that and you quickly recover is you own it, you talk shit, and you got clipped, and then be done with it. I wouldn't further it and try to make it more, because you know what happens is he's squared up, and the next time he does something, he's gonna get hit with a fastball and come on, man, just chill.
More don't mess with thicks, don't mess with Latins, because we come out fierce, you know.
Or what about thick Latins? The ultimate.
Yeah, me thick Latin. Yeah,
the ultimate death combination.
Yeah, bro, Namath, be ready. You want to keep talking, you'll end up like Tim Anderson.
Man, Brandon's getting big, dude.
You're saying he's thick?
He's getting jacked, man. He's getting jacked.
He's thick. He lost the arm wrestling battle. I don't care what he said. Table shook. Oh, all right. Well, do you have anything else? I mean, there was big news about Fanatics versus Panini.
What are we gonna say, man? What are we gonna say? I'm not a legal professional.
I'm not either.
Who cares?
Exactly.
Who cares?
As long as they
get us products on time, get us good quality control, get me autographs, get people their redemptions, and just shut up.
You know what the moral of the story that I got out of this whole thing is, be careful what you tweet, because now they're using the tweets in court, and a couple of them are our friends. Max, his tweet was one of them, and I'm gonna laugh if they all get subpoenaed to go talk about the what's going on.
It's just what are you gonna do? I don't mean like I don't care. It's like it's just what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I would do is if I have my business ripped out from underneath me, but if I was not savvy, because I think the Fanatics play of getting the license and then just like the way they went around that about doing that, I think was so awesome. Just from like if you appreciate business, okay. Now if I'm Panini and I just got whacked like that, obviously I'm not going to make it easy for you, and I'm going to throw some shots on the way out. And so now it's like punch, it's counter punch, and at the end of the day, I don't think a lot changes because I think it's going to be tough because the hobby is comprised of more than just sports cards. There's TCG, so I think actually establishing like true monopoly is going to be difficult, and I think it just makes for cheap headlines and buzz stuff. So I think we'll actually title this one Panini versus Fanatics or something like that. Put like a Mills Lane. Do you know who that is?
No.
The old referee.
Oh yeah.
So like there used to be a show called like clay fighting or something on MTV, and he was always the referee.
Celebrity Deathmatch.
Yeah, Celebrity Deathmatch.
Him?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know.
Or like that, like the actual like Mills, while being an older gentleman and possibly frail, like the actual clay figure was not Mills. I want to be sure that you understand that was clay. That was not real.
Well, no, I knew it wasn't.
It was based off of one.
I know.
Okay, real quick, did you watch SummerSlam?
I did.
Thoughts?
I saw an interview with Jay and Jimmy saying they wanted a headline at WrestleMania main event, and it seems like they're gonna end up. That was like their dream because it reminds them back when they were kids, and it seems like they're gonna do that. They're gonna have it seems like their own side story leading up to WrestleMania. I want Roman to lose somehow. I don't know. I hate how he just wrestles in big events.
It's got to be to Cody, right?
I don't think so.
I feel like they're building up Cody never being a champion, Roman getting ready to have the longest reign ever. I think they're like to me it seems so blatantly obvious.
I think LA Knight might get a shot. The dude's popping everywhere he goes. Like everyone wants him to win because he has like there hasn't been a person on the mic since The Rock as good as LA Knight. You think CM Punk?
Actually, like I've never actually. CM's probably like top 5, top 10 for sure, but I've never held CM as like as high as like I think The Rock, just because of like being serious, joking, charismatic, is probably number 1 for me. But you know who actually I thought was really solid on the mic was Enzo.
Yeah, he was.
You know what I mean? And then like he just like his ego or whatever got too big, and like you can't wrestle, get the hell out of here. But I mean, like just from like being like charismatic and being on the mic and cutting like a serious promo, I actually thought he had a nice little run.
And you can't teach that.
So we saw Enzo in big cat.
7 foot.
My man's like 6'2". So it was funny. I was telling the kids, it's like if you've watched wrestling for any sort of time, it becomes like really easy to understand like what they're building, specifically WWE.
Yeah.
Because it's geared more towards kids. It's a storyline where like if you were to watch like ECW, AEW, some of that stuff, like it can get wild just like for wrestling marks to mark out. And as I was watching it, like the moment Cody won, not that I had any doubt, there's no way Roman's losing to him, to Jay. I'm like, oh, this is all. And as I was watching it, I was like, this is what's going to happen. And like, I got up and the kid's like, you're going to bed? I'm like, yeah, this is what's going to happen. He's going to something, blah, 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 blah. And it ended like, how did you know that? I'm like, it's wrestling, man. It's all scripted. It's a TV show. What makes for good drama? That's what you're going to see.
A reality TV show. That's what I try to explain to my wife because she makes fun of me. And I'm like, it's kind of like your Bachelor, Bachelorette, to be honest.
Yeah, so I haven't watched any wrestling. I didn't know any of the storylines. Like I knew like a little something from like what happened with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in the Bloodline. Otherwise, outside of that, I knew nothing. It's just it's a big event. It was in Detroit.
We should have went.
Again, it was in Detroit in our backyard. And like so obviously there was like a buzz in the area about it, so that's why we had it on.
Yeah, it was good. Also, before we go, I know we're over the hour.
That's
you
fine.
know who we didn't bring up at all? Your rival. This is why you can't trust any Packer players or ex-Giants players because they're all scammers.
Oh, let's talk about this. What a piece of shit this guy is.
He was a Giants and he played for the Packers, both of our rivals. What a piece of shit Blake Martinez is.
Yes. And shout out to Sports Cards Nonsense, because I thought they did a good job covering it. And they said the thing that I was screaming that I know nobody will touch on, or I feel confident nobody will touch on because it's like saying something not in the greatest light of whatnot, is there's this whole scam. And allegedly Blake has
he's a part owner.
10 to 20% ownership and whatnot. They're scamming these people because you can map the Pokemon packs.
Yes.
And so they have this thing where it's like you guess the energy to get the bounty. Yes. And so like these badass people who follow these things and record it can tell you when the pack's pulled, or the one thing that they got really good at is, I guess, in one of the clips, it's just one frame. The bottom of the pack is opened, but the breaker is so skilled at only showing the top, you don't know that the things have been swapped out.
Yeah.
So anyway, they're swapping these cards out. They're able to figure out that there's complete scam. They catch this lady, girl, whatever, young woman, doing some shiesty ass shit, right? This guy sends, and this is what really pisses me off, is he sends like an internal memo to the rest of his team and like blah, 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 keep it positive, let the moderators do what they do. And hey, don't worry, in a week, this will blow over.
Yes.
Which is, and you know what? And as I'm pissed off, I don't even know if I'm pissed off at him. Like, you're a piece of shit. And I kind of believe that like when big money gets involved, people do stupid things. But I'm also like kind of mad that like we as humans, we as a community, we all can agree, yeah, like that's what's going to happen, because the shit happens time and time and time again.
Yes. And the thing is that kind of bugs me about the whole thing is like what you said. I don't even know. I think he's still part owner. They just kicked him off of selling, right? Still part owner. And then there's still like people on Whatnot selling that have been accused of scamming that got kind of
and like he got caught because he's like, oh, we fired her for that.
Yeah.
But then she's still here doing work and blah, blah, blah. But the kicker for me is, don't worry, this will just blow over in a week. And it's like, it chaps your ass, man. Because you know it's true.
Yeah.
You know it's true. Like, you can, like, in the hobby, you can go do the most heinous shit. Fast forward a week. And instead of people being like, no, that guy is still a piece of shit, we need to do something about it, they're going to be mad about something else.
Yeah, and then unless the only one that's exemption of that, and the more I've like watched them, the more I appreciate them, is Backyard Breaks. They're young, did the stupid Kaboom thing. That was dumb. And they're still getting hate for it when I've known that they donate stuff to people. I've witnessed like firsthand. I know that their margins might be a little bit more where they can donate, but they're still helping out the community. They are staying out of the limelight. They're a big breaker. They don't get the pass. I don't know. People pick and choose.
It's like, cool, we're going to be angry about this until something else. And it's like, then the effort goes into like, hey, this guy doesn't meet my personal criteria of what it is to be in the hobby, so I'm going to be angry about that. Like, yes. Meanwhile, let's think about that. If that guy, that piece of shit, think about how many people lost hard-earned dollars or got shafted on stuff they could have and should have won.
Yes.
We all know somebody who like has maybe $20 a month to spend on cards, and they decided for whatever reason to spend it on that fucking stream, and then they get stole from. Meanwhile, there's people who you buy a break from, not just us but other people, and we don't feel like there's enough value, so we give away money out of our pocket to make sure you stick around. Meanwhile, the guy who's like, I played in the NFL, I don't need to do this for money.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you, man.
Yeah, and he just came. They had a big article about how much money he's made in Pokemon like a couple weeks before, so he gained traction because of those articles, and he's out scamming people.
It is like Like, what about the guy from what was it? The guy who was pulling knives on his breaker. Remember that guy? Platinum.
Oh yeah.
I don't, or like there was the guy who's like threw it away and he was like, guys, we're going through like the garbage. You could see like the shiftiness of his hands.
He still breaks too, doesn't he?
That's what I'm saying.
Who I was talking about on Whatnot is Bleacher. They had they lost the cards and breaks, but then they ended up on their mystery packs.
Yes.
Graded, and they're still breaking on Whatnot.
Yes.
That I don't.
What's insane to me is like, hey, you've shown me that you are a piece of shit.
Yeah.
When you steal, you are a piece of shit. There is no, it was an accident. You're a piece of shit. You have shown that you're a piece of shit. And yet people are like, you know what? I'm going to give him my money. Like, what the hell?
And it's different too. Like, I would feel forgiving more if it was the girl, like just the inside, and Blake didn't follow up with just let it pass over and he just fired her. Because like we know people that have companies like Layton's, if they had a crooked employee stealing stuff, they'll fire them on the spot and it like make it up to the people because they have a business to a reputation. Like there's certain breakers, the big breakers, Mojo, you have Layton, like they've never been accused of like this kind of stuff, have they? Of like scamming people in breaks?
Like, I wonder what happens. Like, what is the thought process? Like, I wish we could get a piece of shit on so I could help better understand. Is it just like
he's a millionaire already? He played
I don't know, but what I'm saying is like, is it like you get caught up in the moment? You're like, oh, this is a massive card. Like, I'm gonna be a piece of shit, and then like a couple minutes later, you come down. You're like, oh shit, I wish I wouldn't have done that. But this is like preconceived, both terrible. But it's like preconceived. Like we're knowingly gonna get on here today. We're gonna run a racket. We're gonna hide behind the hobby. It's all good. Blah 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 blah. It's inclusive because you want more people to steal from.
Yep. Yeah. It's so dumb. I cannot. I was irritated with Blake. I feel bad that we brought it up so late, but that pissed me off.
Yeah, I was legitimately. It's just frustrating, man. Because in order for you and I to take the next step and level up, there needs to be that rung below us who's willing to take on our cards as they go through. And if people are just getting fucking shitted on, getting stolen from, cheated from, like we spend a lot of money, a lot of energy, a lot of time in this space. And there's a lot of people that do. If there's nothing good coming from it, you're getting robbed, you're getting hated on, and it becomes like the opposite of escapism. Like who wants to stick around for that?
Yeah, no one. Yeah, it's so stupid. I'm glad that I'm with you, and I guess in our friend group, there's no like everyone's willing to help one another. So I guess
no, it's like the exact opposite. Like everybody wants to pay for everything, so that way nobody has to pay for anything. You know what I mean? It's like I can't even fathom stealing from somebody.
Same. No, I'm too. Yeah, like no.
I know this is a sensitive issue for you because people are stealing from you.
Oh yeah, they do.
Legal theft when you conduct business with one Manuel the Plug.
60. Oh yeah, if you buy from me, you're definitely stealing from me.
Yeah, so fuck you, Blake Martinez, or whatever the hell your name is.
Yeah, I agree.
Stealing, it's gonna blow over. And he's right. And he's right.
Well,
shame on us.
He doesn't care because I think he's still an owner of Whatnot. They need to take him
right. Who cares? You can do whatever you want in 15 minutes. Nobody's gonna care.
No one.
Nobody's gonna give a shit.
Nope.
You'll do a bounty. You pull a card. You'll pretend somebody, like a random person, got a cool card. You'll show it off. You'll snap some pictures. Blah blah blah. You'll come up with some vague, generic statement, and like, because people are sheep, they'll eat it up. And
well, how do you feel about the people that are like the smaller fish? Like you guys break on drip. You guys aren't like a big breaking company, or like people that are like just trying to build themselves, and then you get that. Then you get people scared to break with other people.
I mean, So like, luckily for us, like when we break, it's for fun.
Yeah, I'm saying, you know
like
what I mean?
But you know what? You're potentially robbing people who are on the come up that truly want to make a go of this, of potential audience, because I think what a natural thought process would be is if you can't trust a big reputable guy, why would you go with a smaller guy?
Exactly.
They're going to be even more shisty.
Exactly. Nope. I agree.
What the man? That just irks me, man, because there's people who are like grinding, using the hobby word, but like really trying to come up, and you have people stealing.
Yep.
You're a millionaire stealing from people, I don't even 10, 20, 50, $100 packs of Pokemon.
Yep. Piece of shit.
When you break, you set the price that makes you feel comfortable. Nobody forces you to break a product at any number. Not that I'm aware of.
Yep.
You have to find a balance where like you can make the margins that you need to be at. You can give somebody a product at an affordable price where it sells.
Mm-hmm.
Why steal?
Doesn't make any sense. Greed.
Why steal?
Greed.
Oh man, that fuck that guy, man.
Sorry, I brought it up at the end.
Oh man, it just bothers me. There's so many good people.
Yeah.
And there's so many good people who try to do things the right way, and stuff like that just happens. And the kicker is like nothing's gonna happen. Now, I am interested. It would be super dope. Like I would go out and I would probably. I've never done Fanatics Live, but I would if they came out and booted that piece of shit off and like, yeah, we want nothing to do with you.
Yeah, you mean Whatnot?
No, because I think he's also getting ready to break on Fanatics Live.
He still is?
I believe so.
No way they let him do that.
Like, right? Wouldn't that be like, because they're trying to like, they're getting rid of the random teams. They're trying to like eliminate like the gambling thing for it. How great would it be if they're just like, nah, man, the hell out of here.
Exactly. That would be good.
The hell out of here. I hope everybody boycotts this thing. If I had the bankroll, I would figure out what the hell he does. I know nothing about Pokemon. And I would just be like, hey, instead of going there, come break here for free.
Exactly.
Like,
so stupid.
Yeah. Go piss off somewhere, man. Go steal from somewhere.
Well, to change the subject so I can give you a little bit before we go, we do have a guest. We have to plan the date, and it is about TCG, so hopefully you guys are ready. He's a recurring guest. We're bringing back the guest, Jeremy.
Is it one Bronamath?
It is Bronamath. So Bronamath's going to join this week sometime. We'll drop it. Next week we have plans with a newer company, but he's well known in the hobby.
Big time.
Yeah, big time. Short guy, big time.
Well, also big time you. But he will invite you to a good party.
Yeah, that is true. He does invite to a good party. He did big time me. You're right.
I know.
His wife didn't. His wife's the nicest person in the world.
Dude, from a guest perspective, like I feel like we can talk to anybody outside of and just because we haven't tried Ruben.
Yeah.
But I honestly I don't know like I think he's a cool guy. I just don't know like what kind of fun conversation we're gonna have other than like, tell us some cool stories about the white party, the white.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, I had to tell our producer, Miss Courtney. I was like, because our podcast we like to joke, so you gotta get some. We can't have just straight serious on ours. The straight seriousness will go to Hobby Night School because there's a couple guests that we almost had on Too Thick, and we're like, possibly not great for our content.
Yeah, like it was like one of those things. It's like you're reading, or you have a bunch of kids who can only read picture books.
Yeah,
and you're going to introduce chapter books. And having Manny here, this is more of a picture book kind of class, not chapter book.
Yeah, exactly.
Cursive and words.
I get it, though.
2-syllable words.
People
and things.
Love it. People love it. I heard it at the National. They love our ideas and stuff like that. They love fart jokes.
Well, I mean, I think this is a very natural and normal conversation that people have, maybe with a little more colorful language.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think that we speak for the peeps.
Yeah.
And hey, man, it is what it is. So that's not always going to be the funniest stuff. It's not always going to be the most serious, but it's sports, cards, levity.
What do you want the people to do, Jeremy?
I would like them to, if you're watching this, you have this little gimmick right here. You probably don't have one of these. This is a magic mouse. You probably have a corded Dell mouse. Oh, I don't know what that looks disgusting. That's got one of those little buttons or that little thing you have to plug into something, then flick the switch and put a AA battery in.
Nope.
And it feels like cheap plastic. That's probably what you have.
Yep.
This is additionally is a trackpad as well.
Oh,
so I don't expect you to have one of these, but I want you to take your little gimmick. There's a little cursor. I want you to go over there and see where it says subscribe, and I want you to smash that biatch. Follow along. I think we're up to 27K subscriptions. Videos average 100,000 plays, which is pretty dope. I'm enjoying those nice paychecks.
Yep.
Like, subscribe, leave a review. As usual, we love most of you.
Yeah. Most,
not all.
Yeah. Can't stand Matt and Blaine.
Yeah, 504 is.
Yeah.
And then, the meme guy. We have our own meme guy, Silverlight.
Oh, yeah, we do have our own meme guy.
That's.
He's part of the 95%, 90%, though. He's not part of it. He's not the trash, the Louisiana swamp trash, Matt.
I love anytime you can call somebody Louisiana swamp trash. That's a win in my book.
Exactly.
You have to give him 504. You're more than Louisiana swamp trash. You have gold wrestling cards. You have
And with that, I hope you guys enjoyed.
504 is my guy too. Let me tell you something. 504. No, this will be good for you. This will be good because you know what it's like to deal with me.
Yeah.
504 is like, man, fucking Jeremy don't respond to anybody.
He doesn't.
And he's like, I know he tries to hit me with the sob story, and it's like, dude, it's not you. I have a million messages that I don't respond to, and that's probably why I didn't get to go on the therapist show or whatever it was, with the cousins.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I don't respond to messages, so it's probably damning to myself. But yeah, my guy, 504 Louisiana Swamp Trash.
That's his nickname now.
You got to convince him to switch his X profile, Louisiana Swamp Trash.
Yes.
Manny said it, not me. You're always 504 in my heart.
Not frat Matt?
504.
All right. With that.
808s and 504s in my heart.
All right. With that, I hope you enjoyed your hobby release. We will talk soon.
Face.
You will get another episode this week. Back to back. We're back in business.
Let me tell you something. Maybe a little stick solo joint dropping.
Ooh.
Maybe it's already recorded.
Oh, meaty.
Maybe it touches on serious subjects.
Oh, meaty.
Maybe it's 10 minutes of me just rambling on about nonsense, which is probably closer to the truth than anything else I said.
Yup.
Oh. Maybe it's Panini versus Fanatics. Oh,
there you go.
Maybe it's talking shit about every other podcast. Oh, I am though, for real. I am producing, whether it's a Reckless Cards thing, a Too Thick thing, or whatever. I'm bringing back the I hate whack hobby content. Like, I'm gonna rock that shirt so proudly.
I told
if you get your feelings about it, maybe you're producing whack hobby content.
Well, I told you that segment we need to start doing. We might air it soon.
Dude.
Think America's Funniest Home Videos.
Is America's Funniest Home Videos with Bob Saget or Dave Coulier?
Bob Saget.
Because what was the other one called?
The only one I know is
there was like two. They were very similar. There was like America's Funniest Home Videos and America Home Video Fun. That was YouTube and Instagram Reels before there was a YouTube and Instagram Reels.
Mm-hmm. So be on the lookout. We might have something planned.
Well, we just recorded a phone call. I don't know if we talked about anything cards. A lot of curse. You cursed a lot, but that's okay. We'll beat it out.
All right. Well, with that, have a good one.
And if you steal from people, you're a piece of shit.
Shit.